Are there any good yeses? Well, I certainly think so. Hi there, I am Dr. Santina or Tino Beach. I am an academic family physician, and I'm also a career and life coach who is dedicated to helping healthcare workers rediscover their purpose so that they can conquer their chaos and find more balance and joy in their lives. And today, I'm going to talk about reflection and saying the good yes. So, we're talking about this today because I am quickly approaching another year around the sun. And I think that birthdays are a great opportunity to not only look back at what has gone well, but to think through what you can do next. And one of the things that I am really proud of this year is the number of times that I have said yes. If you are someone who follows me often, you're probably wondering, what do you mean you were proud of how often you said yes this year? And this feels really different from how I usually talk about it. I spend a lot of time shouting from the rooftops that you have to learn how to have boundaries and that you have to learn to say no so that you're not automatically saying yes. But that right there is the key. It is not about the automatic yes, it is about the purposeful yes. So let's talk about some of the things that I purposefully said yes to this year. I said purposefully yes to going to the Slime Slumu Institute with my youngest daughter twice and having so much fun and learning more about slime than I ever thought possible. I also said yes to late night conversations in my bedroom where my older daughter sat next to me and asked me questions that I wasn't always comfortable with, but were really important for her to hear true and honest answers from her mom about. I am really proud of saying yes to an adventure of a lifetime and making it to a gold medal match at the Olympics. That was something that was a bucket list item for my husband, and we were able to make that happen as a family. And I am really proud of the many yeses that I have said at work, the yeses at work that allowed us to take on new opportunities, to try new projects, to talk to students or my residents about things that they weren't sure of that were helping them in their development. And each of those yeses was important to me. Each of those yeses brought meaning and joy to my life. And so I talk a lot about boundaries because I find that boundaries were really key to helping me recover from burnout. But part of the reason that is because the boundaries that I put in place meant that I was purposely able to say yes to these things. And being able to get to the point to do that meant I had to reflect. So let's move into what are important ways to reflect, especially as I am on the very last day of this age and looking to a new year of life. So, when I think about reflecting, I'm thinking about looking backward and I'm also thinking about looking forward. And so, I invite you to share in some of these questions with me. So, the first question that I invite you to think of is, where did I come alive this year? Some of those experiences that I just shared with you of going to the Olympics and some of the rest of the travel on that trip, of going and seeing the absolute joy on my youngest face as she educated me on all of the different types of slime that existed, of watching my oldest really be able to progress and be able to do the things that she was working hard on and share some of the experiences she has had at school with her friends and how she has stood up for friends. All of those things made me come alive. I also came alive in interactions with my patients where they were able to share with me how my ability to listen to them brought such a meaningful difference to them. I think it is important to remember that you should have areas where you come alive in both your personal and professional life, which goes on to the next part of what brings you joy. And so, again, I think that this joy has to be both in your personal and professional life. So, I'm going to start with the professional this time. I find great joy when I'm able to watch one of my residents learn a new skill, or I'm able to see a faculty member have something click or tell me about how they've been able to work with a resident in a different way. I have great joy when I work with my coaching clients and they come up with an aha that I knew was right beneath the surface. I have great joy when I see something happen, when I have a publication that comes out, or I'm able to have a new experience with my organizations and do something different. All of those things bring me great joy professionally. Personally, I have great joy going to the movies with my oldest and her wanting to hang out with me. It sounds a little bit silly, but every time she asks me if we can do something, I have great joy because I feel like those days are limited. I have great joy when I have a wonderful evening with my husband and we're able to go to dinner and just be the two of us and connect in ways that we used to before, but were hard to do when I was deep in the midst of burnout. The next question I invite you to ask is, what drains me? And it's important to remember that not everything that drains you is inherently bad. For example, I am an introvert and I think it's really important for me to go and connect and be with community and go to conferences. However, sometimes the nonstop rush of people absolutely drains me. And so the second half of the question of the what drains me also has to be, and how quickly do I regain my energy? Or is it paired with a few things that restore your energy? You can even think of a list of all of the things that drain you and all of the things that bring you energy, but ensure that those things that bring you energy are way more than the number that drain you. And so, really, that next question should be, what brought me energy? So, they really have to come together. Then, my final two questions for you are really looking forward, and I'm going to pair them because I do think that they go hand in hand. The first is, where do I want to go in this next chapter? And then the next is, and how do I want to show up for my friends, my family, my colleagues, and for myself? And so a lot of this for me is intertwined because a lot of where I want to go next is being that person that is a safe person to be around, that is an enjoyable person to be around, and is not the person that's crabby and cranky and hangry at all times. I also think of where I want to go next in the goals that I set at work, in the trips that I want to accomplish for my kids, and ensuring that we have different experiences. And so, all of those things and how you move forward can be really important and are an important thing to think about whenever you're doing your future planning. And of course, I think a birthday is a good time to do that. And it's important to remember that you shouldn't just be looking in the past and you shouldn't just be looking in the future. You also need to appreciate the present. And I think that that present is hard to do when you don't have a good sense of the past and the future. So, really think of all of these things. Think about the past and all that you have learned and can gain from that. Think about your future and how you're hoping to show up and where you want to go. And think about your present and appreciate the moment and the intentionality that you can have. Now, if any of those pieces feel hard to you and you would like support in that, feel free to reach out to me. You can follow the link in the description and see if we would be a good match for one on one coaching, or just shoot me an email, which I will also include in the description to see if we might be a good fit. Thank you for joining me today. Know that I am grateful for you and that I hope you can use those questions that I shared today to help you reflect and think forward. And as always, I hope I'm able to help you even just a little bit conquer the chaos in your life and get to calm.